everyone, Sarah Strackhouse here, social media reporter for RNCN, and today we're talking about flu season. We've probably heard about everyone saying get the flu shots, or you might have heard in the news cases where a lot of younger people, it seems, have been passing away. But right now we're going to talk to Dr. Johnson, Dr. Alfred Johnson with Johnson Medical Associates, and we're going to be talking a little bit about if it's really that bad. You know, is this different from previous years? Is there still time to go get the flu shot? They'll be joining us here momentarily, so I'm going to make sure we can get this up and rolling. You know, we've been looking at a lot of statistics, and you hear a lot, like I said, in the news about the 21-year-old who passed away, who was a fitness buff from Pennsylvania. You also heard about the California mother of 3. She was about late 30s, early 40s. And then the 10-year-old hockey player who passed away. And this is unusual to hear this kind of stuff in the news. But what we're really seeing in San Diego, we saw some stats that apparently they had the record number of deaths this season at 142, the highest in 20 years. That's according to the New York Times here. All right, we're going to see Dr. Johnson is about to join us here. Bear with me as we kind of get him joined in here in a couple of minutes. We're going to be asking him kind of all the questions that we want to know. How to avoid getting the flu. Is there a way to avoid getting the flu? Is it that bad? Is it worse than in previous years, like we might be hearing on the news or wherever else? What are the symptoms? You know, when should you go to the doctor's office? When should you be you know, taking that visit? Is it the sniffles? Is it when you start to cough, or when your sinuses start acting up? And is there still time to get the flu shot? So we're going to check all of that here in a moment. We're waiting here for Dr. Johnson to join in. We're still getting that kind of all set up. They should be joining here in just a moment. But some of the other statistics we've been seeing, so normally, according to the New York Times, there's 2 strains of this virus. It's the H3N2 or the H1N1. The H1N1 is that swine flu we kept hearing about in 2009. Apparently, about 8% of the people who were going to seek medical attention had the flu in 2009. So that's kind of our basis, our background for where we're measuring from. New York Times reports that 6% of all Americans that are seeking medical care right now have flu symptoms. So just to give you that kind of comparison. All right, let's see here. So we have a few more extra live viewers here. All right, Dr. Johnson. Hello, Dr. Johnson. Hold on one second. Let me invite him in here. Adding right now. It is loading. Again, we are inviting in Dr. Alfred Johnson with Johnson Medical Associates, and we're going to be asking him kind of all the questions you want to know. Make sure you're commenting below. Hello, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh,
Happy Friday.
Sorry, one moment.
It's all right. We're getting set up here. I kind of filled our viewers, whoever's watching, just a little bit about what's going on and, you know, what we're going to be talking about today, the flu.
Exactly.
Yes. So I have a big question for you. You know, we've been seeing all the stories about these young, healthy people who are dying, you know, the 21-year-old, the 10-year-old, the mother of 3 from California. Is this year so much worse than previous years?
Not really. I mean, every year there's people that get the flu and that die from complications. Some years it's much, much worse. You know, there's a few cases this year. We've had, I think, 13, 14 here in Dallas that have. Most of those have other medical conditions that predispose them to having less of an immune system to fight the actual virus and to overcome it. And many of the people that do die from it, it's from secondary infections. So you get the flu and then you get a secondary bacterial pneumonia, and people tend to ignore that because they say, well, I just have flu, and they feel worse and worse and don't seek medical help. And then it gets into a critical situation where they actually do have respiratory arrest, a situation that can't be turned around medically.
Okay, so it is extra complications. I mean, I was looking at looking at some numbers, and according to the New York Times, they're kind of saying the same thing, that it's still too early to tell if this is the worst we've seen, or if death tolls are super high. But I was reading an article from Fox in Cleveland that was saying that the CDC says that this flu season is the worst in over a decade. Is that just because the amount of people who have it, or is it the strain? Why would they say something like that?
Well, I believe it's the strain and the fact that the flu shot is only about 10% effective this year because of the strain.
Okay.
And then people tend to get the flu because they don't have the immunity build up.
I see. Okay. And how effective is it normally?
Well, normally it's 40 to 50% effective if they get the strain correct. And that's a guess on what's going to come around next year.
Right.
Now the big thing is to protect yourself, so that you practice good hand washing. If you're around people that are sick, it's best to remove yourself from that.
Mm-hmm.
If you are sick and have to go someplace, wear a mask to protect other people. And if you're concerned and catch infections easily and viruses easily, then wear a mask yourself. Wash your hands frequently. Don't touch your face. And practice just common sense about exposing yourself in large crowds.
Absolutely. So what are some symptoms that people should be looking out for the flu, or added complications if they already have the flu? I guess, are there two different kinds of symptoms we should be looking out for?
Yes. Well, initially, if you get the flu, you usually develop a fever, ache, may have some nausea, vomiting, diarrhea with it, a headache. Mm-hmm. If it progresses and you start coughing up green, yellow material, fever progresses, not calming down after a day or two, then you need to really seek a doctor. Now, there is anti-flu medicine, antiviral medicine that you can get from the doctor, but you need to start it fairly soon after you get the symptoms for it to be most effective. And that's like Tamiflu, which is a 5-day course of 2 pills a day to help calm down on the flu. And that is a prescription item. So you need to contact or see a doctor immediately when you start getting the flu symptoms, as we talked about, to receive that medication.
I see. Okay. So like a day or two, you said, after seeing those symptoms?
Well, yeah, you need to do it the first day. The sooner
the first day.
The sooner you do it, the better. Now, there's natural substances that can kind of help with it, like echinacea, vitamin C, zinc. All those things help your immune system. So those are some natural things people can use.
Should we be taking those, now as a preventative measure, or not necessarily?
Yeah, no, it helps. Throughout the winter, people take vitamin C. A little extra zinc is good. And then the echinacea is not so much a preventive as when you get the symptoms, you can start it.
So something for people who might just be tuning in now, we have some questions here. How do you protect yourself from getting the flu? And I know you kind of commented on this a little bit before. People just joining in, we're here with Dr. Alfred Johnson, who is the founder of Johnson Medical Associates. We're talking about the flu this year. Is it really as bad as it seems in the media? How do you protect yourself, Dr. Johnson?
Basically, avoidance. And as we're talking about, making sure your immune system's in good shape. Vitamin C helps with that. Zinc helps with that. B vitamins help with your immune system. Some B12 helps. And then practice, if you're out and about, you want to wash your hands after you touch different things. Don't mess with your face until you do wash your hands. And if you're susceptible and are on immune compromising medicines, then you definitely want to wear a mask to protect yourself.
Okay.
And if you are sick and going out, protect others by wearing the mask.
Absolutely.
And then stay home, drink plenty of fluids, and then use the antiviral if you're able to get that from your physician.
Okay. Another question I was kind of thinking, even myself. So should I go out and get the flu shot now, or is it really not worth it? What do you think?
Well, no, they say it's 10% effective because it doesn't have the specific strain that's the main strain going around. However, the flu shot does have some non-specific immune stimulation to it. So it may not prevent it, but it may mitigate the severity of the flu if you do get it, because it has boosted your immune system in a non-specific manner.
I see. Okay. Is there anything else any other questions that you've frequently been getting, or anything else that you think people who are watching right now would really want to know about this year's flu season, maybe this year's sick season in general, as we're heading kind of on the back end of the winter?
Yes, there's the main thing is if you're older, immune compromised, or you're prone to get infections and it's not resolving, you may have a secondary bacterial infection. If so, you need antibiotics to help your body take care of that. And that's what people die of, is the secondary infections typically. So, you need to see a doctor, make sure that you're checked out thoroughly, see what's going on, so you don't have those complications. That complication doesn't progress to where it's life-threatening.
Okay. And if people have more questions and they kind of need more information, or they're asking you about specific symptoms, where can they contact you? Where would be the best place?
They can go to my website. It's johnsonmedicalassociates.com, and there's the Ask the Doctor a place on there to ask questions. Or if they need direct help, they can call my office, 972-479-0400,
Okay.
and they'll reach a person at the office.
All right, wonderful. Well, Dr. Johnson, I don't have any other questions for you unless there's anything else you want to leave people with.
No, just use common sense, be careful, and don't expose other people if you're sick. And then the main thing is, if it's not getting better, you need to see a healthcare professional to make sure you don't have secondary bacterial infections and complications.
All right, well, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a great Friday.
I will. You too.
All righty. Bye-bye.